It is often said that our deepest desires can feel as distant as stars, beautiful, captivating, yet seemingly out of reach. But what if I told you that these desires are not out there waiting to be caught, but rather they reside deep within inside you, closer than you could ever imagine? They are woven into the very fabric of your being, silently calling out to be recognized. Imagine for a moment what you seek is also seeking you. Not in some mystical or fantastical way, but right here, right now, within the confines of this very moment. This is not just a poetic notion. It's a powerful truth about how life operates. And if you're willing to step into this awareness, it can transform the way you live and love forever. I'm Mark Roach. Welcome to Transcendent, my YouTube channel, where I share my fascinating journey around the world and through life in athletics, business, engineering, entertainment, mysticism, psychology, and spirituality. Let's start by diving into the concept of desire. We often think of desire as something external, a distant goal that beckons us from afar. It's seen as the fuel for our ambitions, the driving force behind our pursuits, pushing us to grow, change, and transform. But seeing desire merely as the impulse to acquire or achieve misses a far deeper truth. Our desires are not just things that we seek, they are reflections, echoes of something deeply embedded within us. When you feel a powerful desire for something, ask yourself, why is this and not something else? Why does this particular goal or experience capture your attention and awaken a longing that seems to defy logic? It's because our desires are likely mirrors, revealing hidden layers of our psyche, illuminating the shadows of our hearts. Consider this, our desires are inherently tied to our deepest selves. They point towards what we need to explore and understand or heal. Imagine desire not as an urge to acquire something external, but as a process of self-discovery. For example, someone who deeply desires success and recognition may seem driven by ambition on the surface. But if they look deeper, they might discover that their desire is rooted in the need for self-acceptance. Or perhaps it arises from a feeling of inadequacy they're striving to overcome. In this sense, the desire for success becomes a journey of understanding and ultimately embracing oneself. We're called to explore our inner worlds, to confront our fears and insecurities. It's as if each longing we feel is a doorway into our own psyche, a way of communicating with parts of ourselves that we may have neglected, suppressed, or may have neglected or forgotten. So through the lens of desire, it's not just about finding external fulfillment, but about gaining insight into our inner depths. It's about unraveling the layers of our unconscious and our conscious, understanding our awareness of our values, our motivations, and our wounds. In essence, what desire is a reflection is of who we are, waiting to be acknowledged and integrated. Think about what it means to chase a desire without this deeper awareness. We risk misunderstandings, our own motives, get caught up in a cycle of endless pursuit. When we focus on external acquisition, we might believe that possessing certain things will make us whole or bring us peace and happiness, yet in doing so, we overlook the deeper purpose of our desire, which is to bring us closer to ourselves. This is why some people spend years chasing a particular dream only to feel empty upon achieving it. They miss the call to look within, focusing instead on the external outcome rather than on the inner revelation that it was meant to inspire. When we approach desire as a journey into ourselves, we start to see the world differently. Every goal becomes an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Instead of asking, how can I achieve this, we might ask, what part of myself is asking to be seen? This shift allows us to pursue our desires with curiosity and with openness rather than attachment and fear. This understanding of desire as a path to self-discovery can be liberating. It means that pursuing our desires doesn't depend on what we attain externally. The process of desire, or of desiring, of feeling called towards something becomes valuable in and of itself because it offers a chance to learn about who we are. The excitement, the struggle, the longing are meaningful steps on the journey to self-realization. So desire becomes not a source of frustration or desperation, but a teacher guiding us toward a fuller understanding of ourselves. If you reflect on what you most deeply desire, you might notice that these desires already reside inside of you. They reflect qualities, values, or experiences that you hold dear. For instance, a yearning for love might not just be about finding a partner, but about embracing the love within you, cultivating the passion for yourself and others. A longing for adventure might be a call to awaken the spontaneity and courage within you. In this sense, your desires are not distant or separate. They are intimately tied to your essence, drawing you inward, recognizing them as aspects of yourself ready to be expressed. Perhaps the most transformative way to approach desire is to see it as a pathway to deeper self-awareness. Recognize that when you feel desire, it is a part of yourself reaching out, asking to be seen, accepted, and loved. In this realization, you might find that what you seek has been seeking you all along, not as an external object or achievement, but as an invitation to come home to yourself. In life, we often talk about putting things out there, setting intentions, making wishes, and waiting for the universe to respond. But the universe doesn't just passively observe us. It actively interacts with us. It actively interacts with the energies that we project into it. It's not a cold, indifferent backdrop against which we live our lives. Rather, it's a responsive mirror, reflecting back our intentions, emotions, and beliefs. This mirror concept is not just metaphorical, but it's a dynamic principle that shapes our experiences. What we put out into the world in thought, in feeling, and energy returns to us, sometimes in surprising ways. Imagine the universe as a vast echo chamber responding to vibrations we emit. When we approach life with open-hearted intentions, curiosity, and kindness, these qualities find their way back to us, often amplified. Conversely, when we project doubt, fear, or resentment, life seems to echo those feelings back as well. It's as if our inner states create ripples that travel through this energetic ocean, returning to us in forms and patterns we may not immediately recognize. This might explain why certain experiences, both positive and negative, seem to reoccur in our lives, mirroring effects that have been observed by many throughout history who find that when they hold positive intentions, that doors tend to open, unfold almost magically. It's as though the universe takes cues from our inner world and organizes itself to reflect that reality back to us. But if we dig deeper, it becomes clear that this isn't magic or coincidence. It's a natural flow of energy that follows certain laws. When we think, feel, or act with conviction, with congruency, we generate a specific frequency. And this frequency resonates within the larger web of existence, attracting similar energies and experiences. The universe doesn't grant wishes so much as it aligns with the vibration we project, creating outcomes that are in tune with our energy. This isn't to say life is just a series of affirmations or positive thoughts. The mirroring phenomenon also asks us to be mindful of what we project, as negative beliefs can just be as powerfully an influence to our experiences. If we approach situations expecting failure, the universe reflects these expectations, showing us that we are co-creating our reality. The people, events, and circumstances in our lives reveal our underlying expectations, assumptions, and fears. By paying attention to these patterns, we can see where we might unconsciously invite certain experiences, offering us a chance to shift our inner world to align with what we truly wish to experience. This concept is transformative, realizing that we are not powerless observers, but collaborators in a co-creative dance with the universe. And it empowers us to become more intentional and aware of the energy that we emit. If we bring love, empathy, and openness into our interactions, life has a way of reciprocating. When we approach situations with courage and self-belief, the world often responds by presenting opportunities that allows us to express and expand these qualities. The universe, as a faithful mirror, doesn't discriminate. It reflects back what it receives, whether it is positivity, doubt, or cold indifference. One beautiful aspect of this mirroring process is that it provides constant feedback. Our experiences are indeed a kind of a report card, revealing where our energy is at the moment. When we encounter resistance, conflict, or recurring struggles, we can see these as messages from the universe asking us to examine what we're projecting. Are we approaching life from a place of lack? Our past wounds coloring our perception of the present opportunities? Recognizing these reflections as invitations to look inward can lead to a profound self-understanding and growth. The act of mirroring isn't about manipulating reality to meet our desires. Instead, it invites us to align with our authentic selves, to be honest about what we want, and to release what no longer serves us. When we cultivate peace, resilience, and trust within, the universe reflects these back in supportive energies. It's not about controlling outcomes, but about creating an inner state that naturally draws in what resonates with it. We learn that the outer world reflects not what we wish we were, but what we truly are. This principle calls us to become more conscious of our intentions and the energy that we emit. As we refine this energy, projecting clarity, compassion, and authenticity, Then we attract experiences and relationships that resonate at this level. The universe in its vastness becomes an intimate mirror that reflects who we are, not just what we want. As we align with our true nature, acting with integrity and awareness, we become creators of our own experiences. Recognizing this mirroring effect, we are empowered to become more intentional, more aware of the energy that we radiate, and more aligned with our authentic selves. We often experience desire as something far away, as if there's a great distance between us and what we yearn for. But our goals, dreams, and deepest wishes can feel like they exist in a separate realm. They're almost unreachable. But this distance creates a feeling of separation, a perception that happiness, fulfillment, or success lies beyond our immediate grasp. But this sense of distance is an illusion, one that springs from a misunderstanding of who we really are and what we seek. In reality, what we long for is not far away, nor separate from us. It is intertwined with our very being, always within reach. The illusion of separation begins when we see ourselves as independent from the world around us, like isolated islands in a vast ocean. From this perspective, life feels like a struggle, a constant reaching for things that seems just out of reach. We convince ourselves that if we can only bridge this gap, we would finally be happy, whole, or at peace. This belief creates a cycle of endless pursuit and suffering, where happiness also seems one step away, something we'll experience someday. But this feeling of separation is a kind of optical illusion of the mind. It's rooted in the notion that we are separate from our desires, rather than intrinsically connected to them. When we perceive ourselves as disconnected from our dreams, when we create an artificial boundary between our current state and our ideal state, making the journey seem daunting and reinforcing the idea that fulfillment is always out there. In essence, what we seek is not separate from us. It is intertwined and within our nature, tied to our values and potentials, ready to be realized. Every time we experience a powerful desire, life is nudging us to recognize what we seek is already within us. If we long for love, it's often because there's a wellspring of love within us, waiting to flow outward. If we yearn for success, it's because there is an inherent strength within us, seeking expression. When we feel a powerful call toward creativity and adventure, it's because these qualities are part of who we are. The journey toward our dreams is not about acquiring something external, but about uncovering and embracing the aspects of ourselves ready to bloom. Our desires guide us inward, pointing to the qualities we need to cultivate and the attitudes we need to embrace. When we stop viewing our dreams as distant and start seeing them as expressions of our nature, the journey becomes one of self-realization rather than of mere attainment. This shift transforms how we pursue our goals. Instead of chasing after something that we feel like we lack, we nurture what's within us, becoming co-creators of our own reality. We align with the energies, opportunities, and people that resonate with our truth, and the sense of separation dissolves. We feel profoundly connected, as if life itself supports our journey, showing us that we're not alone and already deeply connected to what we seek. Understanding our desires, or that our desires are already part of us, brings peace and trust into the process. We no longer feel the desperation to force them into being immediately. We understand the journey itself is part of fulfillment, and that as we move closer to our desires, we become more of who we already are. There's no rush, no need to struggle against the flow because we're aligning with something present within us. By dissolving the illusion of separation, we approach our desires from a place of wholeness. We acknowledge that, yes, there are things we want to experience and achieve, but these are not external prizes. They are aspects of ourselves calling to be acknowledged, cultivated, and celebrated. As we tune into this truth, life becomes an invitation to recognize that everything we seek is within us, waiting to be embraced. There is a natural flow, an underlying rhythm that pulses through everything. This flow is like an invisible river, guiding us along a pathway in harmony with our deepest selves. Yet in a hurried, goal-driven life, we often overlook this gentle current and try to control, push, force our way through life. We believe that if we just try harder, work faster, and plan better, we'll reach our destination. But in so doing, we lose touch with a truth that can be both freeing and empowering. That when there is flow in life, and when we allow ourselves to move with it, we experience a sense of ease and alignment no amount of struggle can achieve. This flow isn't external, it's natural rhythm that's within us. Our breathing, our heartbeat, our thoughts and emotions. It's the larger rhythms of nature and the changing seasons. The sun's rise and set, the moon's waxing and waning. All these cycles point to a fundamental truth. Life moves in waves with growth and rest, action, reflection. When we listen to this rhythm and we align with it, we tap into the guidance that can carry us further than force ever could. In pursuit of goals, we assume success requires constant effort and that we must always be in a state of doing. But life's flow shows us there are times for action and times for rest, times to push forward and times to let go. By tuning into this flow, we recognize subtle cues that guide us, telling us when to move and when to pause. Instead of needing to control, we trust the intelligence in the flow itself, a wisdom knowing what is right and when. Allowing ourselves to move with this flow isn't about passivity or giving up dreams. It's about realizing the path to our goals isn't always linear, nor can we fully dictate it. Just as a river finds its ways around rocks, life's flow leads us to where we need to be, often in ways that we couldn't predict. When we resist this flow imposing rigid timelines, we create friction. But when we surrender, life brings us to our destination with ease and synchronicity, almost magically. Think about a time when everything fell into place effortlessly. Opportunities appeared when needed. People showed up at the perfect moment. Events unfolded as if they were orchestrated. This is alignment with life's flow. We're not struggling to make things happen. We're allowing them. In these moments, we feel in the zone where everything feels natural and harmonious. This state of flow isn't created, it's tuned into. Living in harmony with life's flow means cultivating presence. When we rush ahead, planning or worrying, we lose connection to the present moment where the flow exists. By being present, we pay attention to the here and now. We open to life's subtle guidance. We notice small signs, the nudges, showing us the way forward. We learn that we don't always control our journey. We stay open, receptive, willing to move with the flow. This flow teaches patience and trust. In a culture celebrating instant gratification and surrendering to life's timing can be challenging, especially with strong desires for goals. But life's flow has its rhythm, sometimes asking us to wait, to trust that things are unfolding rightly and timely. This doesn't mean stopping action, but acting with awareness and patience, understanding that some things can't be rushed. Trusting life's timing means even waiting periods are rich with meaning and growth, preparing us for what comes ahead. Moving with life's flow is balancing intention with surrender. We set intentions, hold dreams, but release the need to force them. We recognize times to paddle forward and times to let the current carry us. This balance lets us be both participants and receivers, knowing life is a co-creative process where actions and intentions harmonize with existence's currents. Aligning with life's flow brings deep peace and fulfillment. We understand we're part of life's unfolding. We're not separate from it. Letting go of control opens us up to life's mystery and beauty, guiding us to where we need to be. In trust, the journey becomes less about reaching a destination and more about experiencing each step's richness and wisdom, both moving with the flow. By moving with the flow, we discover life is our greatest guide, showing us what we seek is already seeking us, drawing us forward in harmony with the universe's rhythm. Imagine life as a web of connection, an intricate tapestry binding all things. We think of desires, love, success, joy, purpose as separate pieces isolating us from each other. We believe reaching goals requires individual efforts, separate paths for each. But these desires aren't separate. They're interconnected threads woven with intention, belief, and alignment. And when we harmonize with this web, everything we seek falls into place. Alignment means not just setting goals and acting, but tuning in to our own energy, aligning our thoughts, our emotions, and actions with truth. It's about much more than plans. It's about creating harmony between inner and outer worlds, syncing intentions, beliefs, and actions, not fighting ourselves or life's flow. In alignment, we become magnets for desire. Life responds as we move in harmony with natural rhythms. Alignment begins with self-awareness, understanding what we truly seek. Often we pursue society's expectations or others' ideas, chasing success or approval for happiness. If desires aren't rooted in our truth, they create friction, leading to dissatisfaction. True alignment recognizes desires from our authentic selves, resonating with who we are at our core. Identifying true desire, that's the next step of cultivating supportive beliefs. Realizing limiting ones, creating resistance. If desiring a meaningful relationship but believing in unworthiness, beliefs interfere with alignment, pulling in different directions. Releasing them creates a receptive space, attracting experiences resonating with true desires. Emotions play a crucial alignment role, signaling as if we're in harmony or against desires. Joy, enthusiasm indicate alignment. Fear and resentment suggest our ability to see or inability to see the broader canvas of life that's unfolding around us. True surrender invites us to trust this larger picture, to recognize that life has its own wisdom, that sometimes knows better than we do about what we need and when we need it. This is not a call to passivity, but to active engagement with life from a place of openness and presence. When we surrender, we allow ourselves to be guided not just by our own desires, but by a deeper intuitive knowing, a sense that life often brings us exactly what we need, even if it is not what we thought we wanted. This kind of surrender asks us to be present, to listen, and to respond with a sense of curiosity and openness. It invites us to release the tight grip of control and to dance with life's uncertainties, trusting that each step is a part of a larger design. When we surrender, we let go of the fear of things won't turn out as planned. We release the anxiety that comes from trying to control every detail and instead cultivate an inner peace grounded in trust and acceptance. This does not mean that we stop taking action or setting intentions. Far from it. True surrender is about aligning our actions with a larger flow, recognizing the moments when it's time to move forward and when it's time to pause and let things unfold. We begin to understand that we are co-creators with life, partners in a dance where both our actions and our willingness to let go are equally important. Surrender teaches us to see challenges not as obstacles to be conquered, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. When we let go of the need to control outcomes, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We become receptive to paths we might not have noticed otherwise. This kind of surrender also invites us to align with our true selves, to act from our deepest values and intentions rather than from fear or desperation. When we surrender to the flow of life, we align with the natural rhythm that leads us towards our highest goals. We find that life supports us in unexpected ways, offering us the people, resources, and experiences we need along our journey. Surrendering to life's flow also requires cultivating patience. In our fast-paced world, waiting can feel uncomfortable, challenging even. But patience is a crucial aspect to surrendering. It is an acknowledgement that life doesn't always operate on our personal timelines, that sometimes the best things take time to unfold. When we practice patience, we create a space for life to bring us what we need in the ideal way and time. This kind of patience is not passive. It is an active engagement with the present moment. It requires us to stay curious, to continue exploring, and to trust that while we may not always see the immediate fruits of our actions, things are unfolding in the background in ways we cannot yet perceive. Surrendering in this way offers a sense of freedom. We no longer feel burdened by the need to force our desires into existence. Instead, we experience a lightness, a sense of being carried by a current that knows our destination, even if we do not. This is not to say that we relinquish responsibility for our lives. Surrender invites us to take responsibility for what we can control, our attitudes, our actions, and our openness to life's possibilities. It asks us to let go of the rest, trusting that life will guide us to be where we need to be. This kind of surrender is deeply empowering and invites us to trust ourselves, our intuition, and the broader intelligence of life. It teaches us that we are not alone, that we are supported by the universe, by a universe, our universe that is always conspiring in our favor, even when it is not immediately apparent. As we learn to surrender, we often find that life becomes less about striving and more about being, less about achieving and more about experiencing the richness of each moment with a sense of wonder and gratitude. And in this state, we discover what we seek is seeking us too. That there is a profound dance between our desires in life's unfolding that is always leading us toward deeper fulfillment and understanding. Surrender, then, is not about losing control. It's about finding a deeper kind of control, the one that comes from alignment with our true selves and with the natural flow of life. It invites us to embrace the mystery of life with confidence and curiosity, to trust that as we surrender to this flow, we're guided toward a life of fulfillment, connection, and joy. The journey of surrender is ongoing, teaching us to listen more deeply, to respond more fully, and to live more authentically. It reminds us that life is not something rigid to be managed, but a dynamic dance to be embraced. As we learn to surrender, we find that our desires become more aligned with who we truly are, revealing the rich tapestry of a life lived in harmony with the world around us. I'm Mark Roach. All the best.